Welcome to the Forever Better Academy podcast, where you will be given the principles, tools, and techniques to reach the next stage on your journey of self-mastery. Who could you become? I'm your host, Wade Vincent. Hey guys, welcome back once again. It is Wade Vincent, Forever Better Academy podcast. Now, we all need conflict in our lives. So what I want to go through with you guys today is that we need conflict. Now, I know that may seem counterintuitive because, there's always been that push, especially when I was a little kid. Everyone sort of talked, at least in my environment, about, world peace and stop fighting and whatnot. So this may come across as, very, very different approach. But what I want to dive into today is basically why we need conflict in our lives and the importance of actually having that conflict, because believe it or not, if we don't have that conflict, it's actually can create more problems. So I thought the easiest way to sort of demonstrate or talk through this is like many people, my partner and I, we fight. It's it happens. Different people, different opinions, different viewpoints on things, and and I thought this would be a good time to do it because at the moment, right now, it's coming up close to Christmas time, and our oldest son is 13, and he is enjoying his change and growth into, becoming a young man and wanting to venture out and be independent and do these things, right? When I was his age, I was never allowed to go out anywhere at that age. I just wasn't, and maybe some people would listen to this and be shocked that, oh my God, you're 13, you're old enough to do things. And some people would, be, oh my God, 13, he's too young to go out and do things. So, he really just wanted to go, meet with his friends, right, at our local sort of shopping mall. And I imagine he probably wants to pick up some presents for his brother and maybe mum, and hopefully he buys me something good too. So basically, we didn't, not so much an argument, but the conflict. So April was my partner, and April and I got into the conflict of whether he should be allowed to do that or whether he shouldn't. Now, as I said, I wasn't allowed to go out at 13 on my own, probably till I was about 15, really. So I was taking the stance of no, he's too young. He can't go on his own yet. He's barely capable of taking care of himself if something should go wrong. And then April's stance was, well, he's 13. How's he ever going to learn independence if he doesn't go out and experience that and learn from going through the motions? I mean, this is part of growing up, right? So my outside, the external, I'm like, look, this is not right. He has to be taken care of. I'm his father. I must protect my son. It's just that typical thing. I'm gonna take charge of things because I'm the man. Ridiculous, right? But that's my stance. I'm worried about him. And that's the truth of it. Really, what it is that I'm scared. That's my little boy. That's my first son. My little dude. I don't. My big fear deep down inside that he doesn't see is what happens if something goes wrong and I'm not there. What do I do? How do I cope with being okay with that? And maybe that's soft of me to not let my son go and just be a young boy and do his thing. But I genuinely he's my world. I love that little dude, and so internally, I'm struggling with, worrying sick, what could happen? What might go wrong, because sometimes shit happens. So, and really, like any couple, you just sort of, you you know when you're having a debate or an argument, or as I said, the conflict, right? You're talking to each other, almost sometimes talking at each other. So I'm, telling my side of the story, and trying to justify why that's a valid stance, and she's doing the same. She's telling me, no, this is why I believe what I believe, and no one's getting anywhere, right? There's My son's sort of standing to the side watching this, sort of wondering, well, can I go, can I not go, are you guys finished yet, what's actually happening? So he's sort of confused, and neither one of us is really ready to budge. So typical thing, like most people, you have your stance, your viewpoint, your convictions, and you believe in them because that's what you tell yourself, and that's how you sort of approach your world and your environment. You can't make decisions and moves in life if you don't have almost an operating system or a set of rules and principles to work from. So then really what happened is that we're stubborn. Both of us deep down, are sort of stubborn and fixed in our ways, and wanting to be right. That's just that's how we are. That's what we do. We're very strong viewpoints on certain things. So really, we're just hitting a wall. We're not even getting anywhere with this because neither one of us is prepared to budge on it, right? And the thing is, when it's a conflict like this, there's no real right or wrong stance. It's only a matter of deciding, is it something that we let him do or something we don't let him do? There's no real wrong or right answer here. It's just deciding what's the best answer for this problem that we're going through at the moment. So and then as you're probably aware, and many of you probably read a lot of books, and I like to try and I don't just read for the sake of reading. I like to apply what I'm learning because otherwise it's useless information. So and it sort of hit me midway through us, I wouldn't even say negotiating because we're really just talking at each other, we're respectful about it. We're not yelling or arguing about it, but we're, it's conflict. It's a difference of opinion. So midway through, it just hit me, and I was like, what if I literally stopped, took on her viewpoint, understood it from her side, and tried to disprove my own stance on things. Okay, well, what's wrong with the way I'm approaching it? So I just sort of stopped, and the shift all of a sudden. Okay, I'm like, well, I went from looking forward to the next thing I would say to actually listening to what April was saying, and giving that focus and attention to what was being said rather than waiting to respond to what was being said. So as I go through that, I listen, and the real way from there, that it's sort of started to open up and understood that, okay, well, the things that she's saying are valid things that she's expressing, why she believes that, he's ready to go out on his own and do his own thing. And it sort of, we both kind of, I think she picked up on the fact that I was doing that, and then I noticed that she started to do the same, and it all of a sudden we're far more open to listening to each other, and taking in what the other one was saying, and using that to inform our decision on what's best for our son. And it was such a little simple thing, but that change, that plan to listen to the other person with the intent of understanding their viewpoint rather than listening with the intent to respond or prove them wrong or defeat them in some sort of silly, I want to win scenario that actually holds no relevance to the outcome of the discussion at all, and doesn't serve my son any better than he's not getting what he needs or what he's looking to get from us, in other words. So as you know, it's all well and good to say this and be like, oh yeah, you know, we took that time and we decided to listen to each other, and our plan was, okay, we're going to actually listen with the intent to understand rather than the intent to respond. That's all well and good in theory, but humans, as you know, we're emotional creatures. You know, especially with the people that you love, because the ones that you love, you know, are the ones that stir up the most emotion and passion and intensity in your life. You know, that's just because they mean so much to you. So, you know, like, I had to really try to take that emotion out of it. And it's very easy, because if you're attached to your you know, your belief, your stance, your viewpoint, your convictions. You know, as I might have mentioned in another episode, that you know, a saying is, convictions are the enemy of truth. Now that's powerful. You know, if you really think about that, like, you can hold that conviction because you associate with, you believe that that's part of who you are and what you identify with. But if it's not serving you well, and it's actually you know, going against truth, there's no value in holding on to that belief. So I'm getting emotional because, you know, as again, I'm dealing with that inside. I'm actually, like, you know, scared. My little boy, you know, like, and I mean, the reality is, it's silly because I look at him and he's 13, and I mean, I'm like, I'm not a huge man. I'm 5'10", maybe 5'11" on a good day if it's hot and I'm expanded. But he's almost as tall as, if not taller than me now. Like, he's not a little guy, you know. So he's, you know, relatively capable of, you know, at least, you know, standing up for himself. So, you know, we're getting a bit emotional because we, you know, it's a passionate thing. It's important to us. It's to do with, you know, the safety and the freedom of our son and his independence, and as he grows. So it's a sensitive topic when it hasn't really been discussed until that moment. Right now, it's ready to be discussed. You know, so you've never really addressed this in any way, or looked at, or at least we hadn't looked at. You know, what if, you know, when he's ready to do this, how do we approach this? You know, a lot of people aren't that you know, proactive in deciding how to approach these things. It's just dealt with as it comes. So the you know, really trying to remember to remove that conflict. Oh, sorry, not the conflict, the emotion from the conflict. So once we realized that, you know, oh, if we can step out of the moment, take away the feeling that we're not making a logical decision because we're letting the emotion color the conversation, or affect the decision to, you know, to which way are we going to go? Are we going to let our son go out on his own, or are we not going to? And once you know, this takes practice. This is not a quick fix overnight thing that just happens to improve based on one attempt at it. Once we started to openly address that, and that's part of it. You know, if you're aware enough to listen to the other person and take on their viewpoint and understand what they're trying to say to us, to you, or what we're saying to each other, you can do the same with your awareness of the emotion that you're bringing into that conflict. So once you're aware, that gives you that ability to make a change about it. Awareness is the first piece. If you have something that you want to work on or improve or change, and you're aware when that arises, that's a huge step in the right direction. Even if you're not capable at the moment or confident to pick up on how to change it, the fact that you're picking up on it occurring makes it easy for you to start noticing those patterns, and then from there you can correct those patterns. So the outcome from this, basically, I know you probably, you know, I know some of you probably sitting there and it's like, stop talking, tell me, did you let him go out? Did you not let him go out? I'll get there, I promise, right? I want to walk you through, you know, where we got to and how we got there, right? So the real, I guess the word is the outcome or the achievement was really now that we can approach conflict in that regard, in that manner, it helps us to make informed decisions faster and also together. So it was something that just these little tiny things that we changed in the dynamic of how we addressed conflict enables us to actually work together better than we ever have, because it's like that the saying, two heads are better than one. If you can butt heads absolutely and get nowhere, but if you can remove that emotion, remove the taking that stance that you're right no matter what, and be open to the other person, the combination, the power of the two minds together to come to an outcome is far superior, not only with a better quality decision and also a faster decision, but a far more informed decision, because you're also including in your decision making the opinions and the viewpoints or the thoughts or the facts and truth from the other person. And this is why I say it's vital that conflict is a must in our lives. We can't eliminate conflict, because conflict drives us forward. Conflict is progress. If you really think about how else do we move forward as individuals, as a couple, as a family unit, as a state, a nation, as a global community, the only way for us to truly move forward and advance together is to have different viewpoints, different opinions, and have that conflict that forces us to go through these steps, these motions, so that we can take on board each other's understanding and viewpoints, so we can make a better and a more informed decision that serves the greater good. Does that make sense? I know this is a deep conversation for for something as simple as, can my son go to the mall on his own? I know, but this is how I think. This is how I'm wired. I like to dig into things and look at, what does this truly mean? How can I learn from this situation? What can I gain from this that will be beneficial to myself and others? So really, this is why I say, conflict is a must in our lives. And then from there, like if you really think about, the transformation in thinking and approach when you harness conflict, right? You take conflict and remove that thought that it's a negative, and take conflict and harness it as an incredibly powerful tool that moves us forward in unison. That changes everything. Because then we're no longer looking at conflict as a frustration or as this defense mechanism that kicks in, that I have to stand up for my beliefs or what my rights are. You can't be so tied to that. Remember, convictions are the enemy of truth, and truth is what's universal here. What really matters is the truth and what moves us forward. What is the greater outcome? Now, was it more beneficial for us to come to a conclusion and decide whether our son was mature enough and independent enough to go out on his own, or were we too tethered to the idea that we had to prove a point against each other? Like, there was no benefit in that. There's no benefit in we were presented with that opportunity. Conflict gave us an opportunity to grow from this moment, to utilize what we're learning and going through to better approach it, to get the desired outcome where not only April and I are happy as parents, but also our son is happy, because he can see how we're communicating and working as a team, and also, as I said, moving faster with a more informed decision, without the emotion in it, to give him, an answer quickly. So the long and short of it is, we let him go out on his own. So I know you're sort of sitting there like, oh, did he go? I want to know. I know. I just need to know. You have to let me know. So yeah, so we came to a compromise where we understood, to satisfy April's stance that he's ready, he's growing, and he's finding his independence. He has to be able to what's the word, stretch his wings and begin to fly, and then it also satisfied my viewpoint of wanting to ensure that he's protected and safe in the best way possible. So we come to an agreement where she would drop him off, or I would pick him up, and we're actually taking him to the place rather than just letting him walk out and just figure it out on his own. So a nice kind of balanced compromise around not restricting him from that experience and growing, but also ensuring that it's done in the safest possible way and everyone's happy in the process. So this is what it is, So I thought it's valuable. I know sometimes you ever have those moments where you realize this is a teachable moment or a learning moment, especially for myself. And whenever I have those, I want to share those things with you. So that's really the the sort of overarching view of everything in this. So this is why we need conflict in the world, right? So I want you guys to take that on board. Remember, you can take that conflict and flip it. Look at it. How can I use this to my advantage to move me forward and progress from this situation? And this is why we must have conflict. Can you imagine if we didn't have conflict in the world? How would nations learn to improve and evolve and understand each other's needs and desires and learn to coexist, friendly? I mean, we don't always do this in the best possible way, but I genuinely believe if we approach it like this and use that conflict to drive us forward and be respectful and understanding of the other person's viewpoint, then we're far along the road to coexisting in a far smoother world, and a beneficial world for all parties involved. So this is a little bit shorter than usual today, guys, but I thought it was worth sharing this with you guys. And as I say, my big guy, he's out and about trying to get some Christmas gifts. So I hope that he picks me up something good, and maybe in a future episode I can show you, if he decides or remembers to get me something, that I can show you guys and see what you think. So it's coming close to Christmas. I'll still be posting episodes throughout the period. Every Friday there'll still be new episodes coming through Christmas and into the new year and beyond. So once again, who could you become? This is Wade Vincent, part of Forever Better Academy, and I thank you for joining me. I look forward to our next discussion, and have a great afternoon and a great day, and let's talk again soon. All right, thanks guys. Cheers.